This is our assessment today. We have 4 passages. So let's check 1 to 11. I'm going to give you, since no one has sent me questions, so I'm going to share with you the correct answers. Yeah, it's so good. A student asked me, can you explain number 1? And let me explain. Let me explain number 1. Here you go, number 1. This is number 1. This photograph was taken in 1867, was taken more than a century ago, more than 100 years ago. And then another idea is it feels immediate, as if a subject was staring back at the viewer in the present moment. It was taken so long ago, but it feels immediate. These 2 ideas are in contrast. Am I right? So we are looking for a conjunction that means that indicates the contrast. So no. If you put so, it's the result. So that's the result. So the contrast, the best one is cannot be since or while. The best one is although. Although it feels immediate, as if its subject were staring back at the viewer in the present moment. The answer must be C, because the 2 ideas are in contrast. And you need a conjunction expressing that contrast. Therefore, C for number 1. Any more questions? You need to turn on the video. Come on. You want me to talk to a bunch of dark boxes? Yeah, turn on the video. Whenever you are done, turn on the video. We are trying to simulate a classroom situation where, students and teacher interact with each other. I give you the correct answers now, and if you find out something wrong, very often you can figure out, but sometimes you just cannot. You are not convinced. Why? Can you go over number 40? We are dealing with passage 1. When we reach passage 4, I'm going to explain number 44. Okay, you can raise that question. I'll try to remember. You have a question about 44. That's jumping to the very end. But let me give you the correct answers to passage 1, and you raise questions. Learn to raise questions. We don't want to do something routinely without any, without any feeling, any sense of danger, or any sense of misgiving. That's a very dangerous situation. We need to work. We are working towards 2 goals. One is expertise, of course. We need to know how to do it. Second is confidence. You need to be confident. When you are done, when you have chosen the right choice, this one, because I eliminated all other 3. So this one, no matter what, must be right. Okay. 11, yes. Yeah, 11 belongs to this passage. Let's go over 11. Let's find out what's there in number 11. Here is another rule. If you have a notebook, write down something, take notes. Always read the whole sentence. Always. Never Never read just a fragment of the sentence or a portion of a sentence. Let me read it now. And do not look at the answers. Anticipate what's coming up. Let me read the sentence. Photographers who came later have appreciated what Cameron's contemporaries could not. The camera can turn away from the material world and its literalism, turn away from A to B, is it? So turn away from the material world and its literalism to an artistic interpretation of life. Move away from some place towards another place. That's the natural conjunction. That's a proposition, actually. That's how you connect ideas. So we are looking for turning away from towards somewhere. Then you don't have to look for answers. This answer will come to you by itself. And then you check. Being doesn't make sense. From, you have from something, from, no, it cannot be seen. And from something, besides something, come on. It must be be toward. See how natural they connect. This is how we write English, is it? That's something logical. From California to Massachusetts. Okay. Number 11. So I'm glad that you raised this question because it brings up an important point about the procedure. This is what we must do. Dealing with every question, go over the entire sentence and try to build up some anticipation, some conjecture or guess what that answer might be. And it's so obvious. Second point, you need to assume a position of authority. You are trying to help your peers to find the right answer through elimination. So number 11, it's so clear. It must be B. Because you connect. We need to connect. Isn't it? 11. Any more questions about passage 1? If not, let me give you the correct answers. And then you come again. You come up with questions again. Okay. Let me give you the answers. I don't know if I got the right place. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, it must be the right one. And send to everyone. You check. Check carefully. These are correct answers. And it's your turn to raise questions again. If you don't understand, if you don't agree, raise questions. The good news is probably you find, that you have come up with the same answers. That will be great. I actually picked a TSAT packet to make it a little bit easier for us. This is a PSAT packet. Any more questions? And another point is, when you go over the packet, the questions should emerge in the process. You don't look for questions at the end. Questions means that those items where you cannot decide. You have eliminated 2, and there are 2 remaining. Or you can only manage to remove 1, and there are 3 answers. You don't know which one to remove further. And you come up with questions. What should I do? Let's move on to the second passage. Any questions? Second passage. I'll give you like half a minute. See if you have any questions. Go over the second passage and see if you have questions to raise. When I get more familiar with you, I'm going to ask you questions. Maybe I'll ask one of you to share your answers with us. If you don't raise questions, I don't think. Yeah, for those who already come up with questions, I will not bother to trouble you again. But any questions about passage 2? I'll give you the right answers. Before that, since let's see, before very good questions, number 1 and number 11. Let's go to the very end since the question has been raised. So let me go to 44. 44. You know the rule about the composition of paragraphs or an essay. If you need a concluding sentence, the sentence should more or less re-emphasize the main idea. But if you look at this, after all, market researcher data monitor found that between 2008 and 2011, more than 800 new food products were labeled artisan in some way. This is too specific to be a good concluding sentence. In a concluding sentence, you need a general statement. How can you be that specific? Huh? And then more than 800 new food products were labeled artisan. This is about certification process, not about how many new food products were labeled that year. So should the writer make this addition here? No. Therefore, A and B should be removed. C, no, because neither the specificity of the information nor its relationship to what is presented earlier is appropriate. Yeah, both in content, it's not related to the main idea, it's too specific. And it does not connect logically with the previous. Yeah, the previous discussion in the paragraph. So C is a good one, and D, because it does not distinguish between legitimate and illegitimate artisan label. That's not the issue. The answer should be C. It's so clear, too specific, and also not much related. C for 44. And if you have, if you go over this paragraph, you can see that, this does not connect. So 44, the answer is C. Passage 2, if you have no questions, let me give you the correct answers. I'm actually hoping we can get something. We can do more today. If you don't mind, I would extend this class by 10 minutes since we wasted a lot of time working on logistics. Second passage, the key. From 12 to 22. Here you go. These are correct answers. If you do not have any questions to raise tonight, you may wait. You copy and paste the key, and then go over your work and check the key. See if you got more questions. But very often you can figure out why your answer is incorrect. But sometimes, if you cannot, figure out why, come back with your questions. I'll be happy to answer them. But you need to scrutinize your work, see what caused the problem, why something went wrong, why I didn't pick the right answer. Again, send me questions directly, to me, not to everyone. Let me share the screen. Here you go. Just based on let me go over a few of them and see. See here, number 18. Number 18, if you look at this question is about conciseness. A should be removed because you have short phrases, not at all very lengthy. That's redundant. A has to go, isn't it? You need to read the whole sentence and find out, oh, you're repeating the information. Short sentences, not at all very lengthy, no. B, such as northbound and local train. You have no reason to question this. I mean, let's keep it unless we find something better. And C, and they are recorded individually. You already have the information. They will be electronically strung together as needed to form the transit announcements. So of course, recorded individually is not necessary. Otherwise, why they have to be strung together. So C has to go. Listen. And D, with enunciation that is done. Enunciation means pronounce carefully. So this is very wordy, very redundant. So only B makes sense. And this is the best expansion, such as you have concrete examples. Another one is 20. 20 connects this present sentence to the previous sentence. The previous sentences, let's see, in some cases, standard announcements such as those warning passengers to stay away from the platform edge are recorded in a single long take. That's the previous sentence, is it? And then once this happens, once what happens? Once in some cases, standard announcements are recorded in a single long take. This is so ambiguous. Be the same thing after this. So this test is on clarity of expression. This, we don't know what it refers to. However, sometimes, it's fine, but there's no contrast. The announcer's voice can take on a kind of celebrity of its own. It forms no contrast with the previous, sentence. The best answer is D. Once the recordings go live. the announcer's voice can take on the kind of celebrity of it. We get so familiar with the voice because we, take a subway on daily basis. So we know the voice. And this item is a test. A and B have to go because the pronoun does not have clear reference. C, however, there's no logical connection, so only D is the best. Anyway, let me go to the third passage. Oh, very good. We got a bunch of questions. Let me write down your questions. Got a bunch. Maybe, so that I don't have to go back and forth. Number 13, number 18, number 14. So we have 3 questions. Let me go over 13, 14, and 18. Let's go there. Number 13. This is not just about how to take a test. This is fundamentally about how to write. Write with clarity, write with logic, isn't it? Okay, number 13 now. Number 13 here, sentence 7. Number 7. After all, how much skill does it take to announce next stop? 42nd Street, Times Square. So the sentences around it must be the assumption that, oh, come on, it's such an easy job. You just say something simple, is it? Okay. How about number 5? It might seem as if almost anyone could do their job. It's so simple. Huh? After all, how much skill does it take to announce next stop, Times Square, and then you have 6. But make no mistake, most transit announcers are highly trained voiceover artists. See how it fits. Perfect logical connection, isn't it? Anticipate. After all, how much skill does it take? So before it must be the assumption. Oh, most people, assume it's very easy to be an announcer. Number 13. So it's after sentence 5, number 13. When you are dealing with these kind of questions, read the sentence carefully. It must provide some clue. Otherwise, the designers of this test cannot justify themselves. They cannot justify. Okay. Number 14. Number 14, cities generally hesitant pace when selecting announcers for, this is the topic sentence. It is the first sentence of the paragraph. So it must somehow introduces the main idea of this paragraph. And what is the main idea? Some take a scientific approach. Carefree, consulting carefree screened focus groups. Selection committees are typically looking for a voice that strikes a certain balance. Again. And so this paragraph is about, and the messages themselves may be quite perfunctory and provide little scope for dramatic interpretation, but they still must be read with just the right intonation and emphasis. So the tone must be right. So this is not something, routine or easy. The best answer, cities generally exercise great care in selecting announcers for their transit systems. B works. I don't want to remove B, but I can easily remove A. Hesitant pace, what do you mean? Hesitant or exercise great care. Exercise great care is very positive. Take this sweet time, come on. This is like a short story. Yeah, no, too emotional. And the act with the utmost gravity means you don't smile. No, it's about manners. No, it's about how careful you are. So the answer is B. 14. Exercise great care in selecting announcers. Now you understand why B is the best. It has the first sentence of the paragraph means a lot. It must, give a hint to the content of the whole paragraph. It's the topic sentence. And let me see, 18. Number 18. I think I explained 18. Oh, okay. Probably you asked question before me. Before I did this. Very good. 17. Sure. 17. 17 is a very good question. We can remove A because this is a colon and then but they. After the colon, you don't need a conjunction. A colon should be followed by anything, like a noun, a phrase, a clause, but never a conjunction, never. B maybe, C maybe, D no. After semicolon, remember, take a note. Semicolon indicates a parallel structure. Two ideas are juxtaposed with each other. So semicolon means and. You don't need another conjunction. Semicolon, and then you need another independent clause. So A and D should be removed. How about B and C? But is a conjunction. However, it's not a conjunction. Let me give you this example to illustrate the nature of however, or therefore, or nevertheless. Let me show you. Let me show you this. We have a font. Maybe larger. 20. Yeah. They all went to watch the movie. However, I didn't go. My sister and I, however, didn't go. We didn't go, however. So look at this. However, is so flexible in its position. It can be put at the beginning of the sentence. It could be put in the middle of the sentence. It could be put at the end of the sentence. However, we call however a lot of these we call them, they are adverbs, but in meaning, they connect. So we call them conjunctive adverbs. Grammatically, they are adverbs, but they serve to connect ideas, conjunctive adverbs. Now you see, if you look at this item, number 17, if you have however here, remember your English teacher told you, if you have however or therefore between two independent clauses, you need a semicolon and then a comma after however, because however itself cannot connect two sentences. No. It's an adverb. Therefore, for 17, the answer must be B. B is okay. Now it's clear. This is a very important distinction, but and however. But is a conjunction. It serves to connect two phrases or two clauses, no problem. However, no. However is an adverb. So C is a comma splice. I just mentioned comma splice because you put a comma between two independent clauses. It means that you put two ideas together without indicating how they relate to one another. And that's a problem. '21. I hope this kind of a discussion of this general nature, it's very helpful because we understand, how careful we must be. We have to be very careful. 21. Let's go to 21. And here you go. 21. Yeah, this is a nasty question. From comic, adjective, to romantic, adjective, to gritty. And to, yeah, this is so wordy. B is okay. And C, you have from adjective to adjective and to noun. It cannot be C. D, as well as romantic, you have noun and then adjective and adjective. The answer should be B. You have good parallel structure. The same part of speech. Most of us are more nervous about reading than writing. So if you get a very good score on writing, that would kind of alleviate your burden with reading. It's not that stressful, You can afford to lose a few points. Okay, I've done a perfect job in writing. Reading, but reading, of course, is much more challenging. Because, why? Reading has a lot to do with ideas, especially passage 1 and passage 4. Passage 1, literature. Passage 4, social studies, history, gender and racial issues, politics, a lot of complex issues there. So we don't want to do a neat job, overwriting. Yeah. So that would give us confidence. Let's move on to the third. We have 10 minutes left. We'll move on to the passage 3. I'll give you the correct answers anyway, and then you'll see. Let me answer your questions. 23 to 33. I sent to everyone. Oh, there's such a gap between 30 and 34. Anyway, it's clear. Let me have your questions if you have any. form the habit of raising questions. That's why I think most of you know some Chinese. That's why knowledge or learning in Chinese is called 学问. You have to learn, and you have to 问, ask. You have to raise questions. You need to have intellectual curiosity about how this thing works. Let me figure out why. So raise questions if you have any. Let me go there and see. You need time also to figure out. Number 31. Okay, very good. And I'll come back to find more. Let me write down. (31, 29). Let me share the screen. (29) first. At this point, the writer is considering using the figure to support the claim made in the previous sentence. Based on the data in the figure, would this be an effective choice? Let's find out. This is the previous sentence. After testing many combinations of sponge extracts and competitors, Engel and Pollack found that 30% of the sponge extracts tested have chemical deterrents inhibiting competitor growth. Okay, 30% of sponge extracts after testing many combinations. So do we have the graph? Oh, here. We don't have many, and we don't have percentage. We don't have after testing, 30% or something. No. So let's go back to our answer should be, would this be an effective choice? Using the figure to support the claim. You cannot use the figure to support this claim. No. So the answer, let's remove A and B first for 29. C, no, because the data show that all of the extracts tested have a chemical deterrent. This is C. Okay. Let's read the question. Based on the data in the figure, would this be an effective choice? That's using the figure to support the claim. There's no 30% here for 29. No. So A and B have to be C. I don't think. Yeah, we got stuck with C. How about D? No, because the data do not show numbers. Yeah, this is perfect. This is perfect fit. Show numbers or percentages of the total number of sponge extracts tested, having the chemical deterrents. D is the perfect answer. So you see, A and B being removed in the first place would kind of, make it easier for us to decide between C and D. 30, sentence structure. Extracts of the sponge species, Diacetyl, Etheria, and Intiplasophorax deter growth of all three competitors that were tested. If you do not look at the choices were tested, all three competitors that were tested, I will put a colon there. A, B, and C. semicolon is not allowed because semicolon, after semicolon, you need a complete clause. C has to go. A has to go because you need some punctuation mark. So A and C are very easily removed. And then B, tested, comma. So do you mean that these three, the three competitors that were tested, and then comma, 1, 2, 3, or colon? Colon is much better, isn't it? So actually, in many cases, we are encouraged to use colon. 31, the question 31 here. The competing organism, one, for example, show approximately 4% overgrowth. For example, for 31 is pretty good, isn't it? In addition, no. However, there's no contrast. So for 31, the answer should be 31 is an easy one. Why did you raise question 31? No. Yeah, all other choices don't make sense. To point out, in addition, however, no. These are examples. 24. Let's go to 24. Interesting. Sentence structure again. You probably have 7 or 8 items out of 44 dealing with sentence structure. This is a big deal. Sentence structure. Let's take a look. 24. Sponges compete with other organisms, comma, including other sponges, comma, to occupy space on the reef. In dealing with questions like this, you need to pay attention to the main structure of the sentence. The main structure is sponges compete with other organisms to occupy space on the reef. That's it. And then you want to add some information, put a comma, including other sponges, comma, to occupy space. So you need a comma and a comma. Here, A, no complaint. B, organisms, including other sponges, semicolon, to occupy. This is ridiculous. After semicolon, you need an independent clause. And C, you have a comma, but you don't have a comma after. When you have comma and comma, it means that you can remove this phrase without affecting the entire structure of the sentence. The sentence will still make sense, even with, what is enclosed within commas being removed. C is wrong. And D, you have colon, including other, colon, including. After colon, usually, you don't need a prepositional phrase or a gerund. No. So, comma, comma, for 24. Therefore, the answer has to be A. Okay. The last passage. Let me give you the last passage. The answers to the last passage. You will find out that there are so many patterns there recurring again and again. They just want us to know. Because probably they found out these are recurring problems with many students. A lot of students having these problems. Sentence structure, pronoun references. Let me send you. This is perfect. There you go. These are correct answers. And let me know if you have questions. And I'll go over your answers and find out how strong you are, how much help you need. Shall we let it go? Or you have questions? We're going to take originally I planned to give you a test on vocabulary range, because we need to work on that too. But we don't have time. It's okay. I'll send you a vocab list. We got some vocabulary list. So, and with some quiz at the end of the list. You can go over the list and we'll go over the vocabulary, the first thing, next class. And I'm going to send you a reading. You got a week, so plenty of time. We'll do a in-class reading assessment. Since we need to learn how to work under pressure, time pressure. Time limit creates a lot of stress. And we need to get used to that. But we also need to work on accuracy, and the homework reading packet, you can read it many, many times, as long as you come up with the right answer. So I'm going to send you 2 packets, vocabulary and reading practice, and we'll come back for reading assessment. For the assessment, we're going to use a real, I think it's a 2020, it's May, I don't remember, the real SAT test. Okay, let me send you. I want to know that your email works. So I'm going to send to all of you the vocab and the reading packet now. Wait for me and we'll see. Next class will be June 19. So I put June 19 reading homework and then the vocab. I sent. When you receive it, means everything is fine. You can wave and leave. Okay. I'll see you next week. Check your email. Got it? You should have it. Bye.
I got it. Thank you.
Sure.